the Madman! Welcome to Custom Hearthstone's top cards of the week. Let's dive right in with Spirit of the Dragon, 2 mana 0/3 Paladin card. Stealth for 1 turn. Whenever you restore health, add a random dragon to your hand. Design 4 stars, balance 5 stars. Now I don't know if you guys are gonna rag on me for being too picky here, but the 1-star loss in design is because the name of the card is Spirit of the Dragon, whereas Spirit of the Blank was clearly a 9-card cycle which talked about their respective Loa, and Dragon is not a Loa. This card seems to compare in power level to Spirit of the Frog. Spirit of the Dragon requires that you restore health, which is harder than casting spells, so I think the 1 mana discount on it makes sense. The goal is pretty much to get better than Dragon Roar value from it, which means you need to heal twice. Seems reasonable. So I like everything about this card other than the name. Corrupted Healer. A priest 3 mana 4/3 minion with Lifesteal and Rush. Battle Cry. This turn your healing effects deal damage instead. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. The card's stronger than both Akanai Phantasm as well as the Acolyte of Agony, but you know what? I think that's okay. It's on the higher level of power level, but Priest needs good minions. I like how this is flexible in that you can just play it as a 3 mana 4/3 lifesteal, which is pushing the limits, but it's Priest. Priest isn't really well known for having small minions. That's fine. You could also use it as a 3 mana Shadow Bolt, which also deals damage to you, and that's fine. You could even do some sort of Corrupted Healer Circle of Healing, similar to how Akanai Phantasm works. I like this card because there are a lot of options on how you can play him. It's worth mentioning that it is my belief that this internal feedback loop of this turn your healing effects deal damage instead with a lifesteal, so does that mean you infinitely do that? No, I believe that has been fixed. Cannon Master Ulrich, a rogue legendary minion, which is a 3 mana 2/2 pirate. Combo costs 3 more, summon a 2/3 ship's cannon. Battle Cry, summon 2 1/1 pirates. The ship's cannon, which by the way is already a Hearthstone card, could just use that one. After you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. Design 5 stars, balance 4 stars. I like the idea of the card a lot. This is a card, once again, with 2 very unique modes. 3 mana to summon 4/4 worth of stuff, or you can simply use 6 mana and then the ship's cannon works so well with the pirates. 2 damage twice randomly with the 2 1/1 pirates that Ulrich is summoning. I think it's really cool that the card makes that part of the combo more expensive. I think it's an interesting idea to have combo where the combo is quite a bit better, but you have to pay more for it. And it has to be worded differently though, because combo costs 3 more. I feel like that's a bit strange of wording, that it follows the combo. I feel like it should be at the front of the card, which it would say something along the lines of costs 2 more if a card was played. Some small changes I would make to this card are perhaps the name. I feel like there's some sort of legendary pirate that you could actually pull from World of Warcraft here, perhaps from a raid. I know that I've fought on ships before. As stands right now, 3 mana for a 2/2 that summons 2 1/1s. That's probably okay if they don't have any tribal tags, but the fact that you're summoning 3 pirates pushes it over the top in that you could have South Sea Captain come after it, and that would be really backbreaking. I would say Cannon Master Ulrich should be 4 mana, and that the combo cost should cost 2 extra mana, which also is a little bit beautiful in that the cost 2 more is the regular cost of a ship's cannon. But all in all, very cool card, and I love the idea of costing more if a card was played before it and then changing the card and what it does. Or perhaps like adding to what the card can do. Bartender Bob, 4 mana 4/5 legendary. Battle Cry, discover a deck upgrade. Design 4 stars, balance 1 star. The intent is that this deck upgrade, you choose 3 out of that huge list and you pick one. The author has designed it so that everything costs 3 mana. And I believe that's a huge mistake. There's a number of these which are very weak for the 3 mana cost. For example, the Gangzal here. It's simply Gang Up, which is a card that most decks wouldn't want to play, and certainly if you are playing a deck and you have Bob, you're so rarely going to want to gang up. Hella Stories give all friendly minions +2/+2 is absolutely insane. The Druid Twin spell, which is 3 mana for give all friendly minions +1/+1, is played. Recruit of choose an enemy minion shuffled into your deck. It was Entomb, it cost 6 mana, and it was played. So imagine a 4 mana 4/5 with a battle cry of drawing you an Entomb, which costs 3 mana. That's insane. So there are a few ways to balance this version of Bob. One way is to lower the stats of Bob. I mean, that feels like it has to be done anyways, because a 4 mana 4/5 with Battlecry, just getting a card extra is just too insane. By the way, 4 mana 2/4 draw a card is fair, no mission better. So Bartender Bob's stats need to go down. And I would say you either really, with a fine-tooth comb, change all the effects so all of the cards at 3 mana would be fair, or you actually balance all of the cards, make some of them 1 mana, make some of them 6 mana. That could be a pretty interesting card. And then it would be a card worthy of the legendary name of Bartender Bob. Silverware Baron, a Warlock 9 mana 9/9. If you discard this minion, add 3/3/3 Silverware Golems to your hand. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. It's pretty straightforward in terms of thinking of it. It's 3 Silverware Golems stacked onto each other, and that makes a Silverware Baron. Mega good for discard decks, because if you discard this card, you basically, instead of discarding a card, you kind of draw 2 cards, since you're losing this card and you're gaining 3. And the cards you draw are extremely good for further discard. The reason why this card is balanced right now is just because there's not very good discard in the format, especially discarding a high cost mana card. I will say the only meta in which discard lock worked is when Silverware Golem was in the meta, because discarding Silverware Golem actually gave you a lot of tempo and was a good payoff for discard. So too, Silverware Baron looks like it. It's a slower payoff, but much more card advantage focused, and then into lots of potential tempo. I like the card, and this is a example of a good card to print if you want to push discard Warlock. Disassemble. Paladin 2 mana spell, destroy a mech, summon every minion that was magnetized to it, presumably to that mech's side, mech's owner's side. Design 5 stars, balance 3 stars. Disassemble is currently a bit weak. I feel like it could cost 1 mana and it would be fine. I did consider the case that you magnetize a bunch of stuff onto the Mechano Egg and then you destroy it. Is that overpowered? No, it's not, because you could just summon the mechs not on Mechano Egg earlier differently. Better than destroying your egg is buffing it, and then trading it off, which is usually what happens when you magnetize it. There's no need for a disassemble. I do think that the card is very flavorful, and that the card is fine. It just costs too much right now, so should probably be 1 mana. Poison Chalice, a Warlock spell, 2 mana, give the spells in your hand, cast when drawn, shuffle them into your opponent's deck. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. This card's existence would push deck designers into creating a pretty trolly deck. You'd be looking for cards such as Cataclysm, which is in Wild and rotated out, play the Chalice while you have it in your hand, potentially poison your opponent. Very flavorful. These types of meme cards and very creative cards are good in limited numbers, similar to how Treachery is a cool design. As stands, this card would never see competitive play because you're discarding cards after paying 2 mana for this in order to give your opponent's deck the chance to wreck themselves. You would just get wrecked by aggro every time. You might want to consider, and this would make the card a lot stronger, but probably the card is still okay if this happens. Shuffle copies of spells in your hand into your opponent's deck with casts when drawn, which means you wouldn't have to lose your cards. That would make the card a lot stronger, but I think that might be a reasonable card as well. Bring to Life, a mage secret for 3 mana. After your opponent casts a spell, summon a random minion of equal cost. Design 4 stars, balance 2 stars. This does have very evocative imagery of your opponent's spell basically being the catalyst for bringing something to life, which is awesome. It's got a problem though. It's a mage secret. Mage secrets have to cost 3. But this card effect is not worth 3 mana. It fills the very similar niche as Counterspell. Instead of the opponent's spell getting countered, you'll get their spell's value in mana. But usually they will be testing with a 0/1 or 2 mana spell, in which case your 3 mana spell gained you a random cost 1 mana minion, and it's even delayed. That's really, really weak. So the question is, how can you make the effect stronger while remembering that the mana has to stay at 3? An interesting idea might be similar to Conjurer's Calling theme. After your opponent casts a spell, summon 2 random minions of equal cost. That would be too powerful. Perhaps of cost 1 lower than this spell. That gets a little bit wordy, but a possible change. And we've got some passives. This design is for the Dalaran Heist. Dark Artifice. When your hero is destroyed, destroy all minions and become Lord Jaraxxus. Worth noting that it has the hilarious error right now that I believe it means when your hero is first destroyed, or the first time your hero is destroyed, destroy all minions and become Lord Jaraxxus. Otherwise, you infinitely become Lord Jaraxxus, and that is overpowered. Overall, I'm going to give the design 5 stars. Balance 3 stars, though. I think Dark Artifice is pushing it. It should probably be a rare passive, but that looks fine. It's really powerful to have Twisting Nether and Lord Jaraxxus in a passive. It's like 17 mana worth of stuff, but it does only trigger when you are about to die, which means it's a little bit weak against the mages in the final of Act 5, because they don't necessarily have a board presence. Maybe they're killing you with spells. I think this card's fine as is. A little bit powerful on a passive side, but it could work. Copy Cup. Your minions that cost 3 or less have Echo. Oof. Now that is overpowered though. That combos so ridiculously with Bob having set one of your cards to 0. You can just play all of it. With mana reduction, such as with Expedite, you could easily copy many minions that cost 1 as 0. It's just really, really insane. Even without that sort of shenaniganry, the card is too powerful. One suggestion that might fix it is when you draw a minion that costs 3 or less, add a copy to your hand. I like the idea of pushing fast decks, pushing small cost decks. Those are currently too weak, so I feel like that version of Copy Cup could be really cool. And Book of Histories, after you cast a spell, shuffle a copy into your deck that casts when drawn. I think it's just great as is. A bit chaotic, a bit random. On the weak side, it's fun to see some designs for the Dalaran Heist. I feel like that's also a worthy area to design cards and passives for. And now let's conclude with the trump card of the week. Desperate Recruit, a warrior 2 mana 2/2. If you have 20 or less health, rush. If you have 10 or less health, charge. Design 5 stars, balance 4 stars. You know, 5 is my highest rating, but this particular design is very, very strong. It takes a warrior mechanic that we haven't seen for a while, but it's in the classic set, Mortal Strike, and uses it. I feel like having less than X amount of health is a really warrior mechanic and should be used more. I love how you have to think about, okay, am I greedy enough to wait until I'm weaker before playing it, or should I just play it as is? And yes, charge is a fine mechanic to use, especially if it has such a heavy restriction, such as you have to have 10 or less health. It's too weak right now, but it's easily fixed by either making it a 2 mana 3/2 or a 2 mana 2/3. The restrictions on this card do warrant it having the vanilla stats of a 2 mana 3/2 or 2 mana 2/3. I'd say it's a minor bonus. What an awesome card! And that's this week's top and trump cards of the week.